I'm going to be explaining to you, as if I'm explaining to a dummy, the new rules that were newly introduced by the United Kingdom government earlier this week. And I will explain it very simply to you. And I'll also be sharing with you towards the end of the video some things that can be the major difference for you to remain in the UK after your study, or what are some things that you should do if you intend to come into the UK, what you should do that will allow you to remain in the UK. So without wasting much of your time, the first thing that was on the white list is that the waiting period for you to get permanent residency has now been expanded from 5 years to 10 years. You know, when you come into the UK and you get a job that offers you COS, Certificate of Sponsorship. So when you work at that job for 5 years, after 5 years, you can apply for indefinite leave to remain. Like leave to remain, you can apply for that, which like your route to PR. So, but now the waiting period for you to get the leave to remain in the UK has now been increased from 5 years to 10 years. But of course, one thing you need to know too is that these propositions that was made earlier this week, they were just propositions for legislation. They have not been enacted yet. Most of them have not been enacted yet. So it will still have to pass through Congress, and it may be passed, it may not be passed. But you just need to know some of the things. But of course, because they're trying to tighten immigration routes and the likes, cover some excesses, that is why some of them will be passed and some of them may not be passed. And one thing here is that even as part of the law, they are also intended to make this applicable to people who are in the UK already, not just people who are just coming in. They want to make it applicable to people who are in the UK already, who have not gotten that leave to remain. Another policy here is that most of the jobs that qualified for the skilled worker visa before, most of them will no longer qualify. There will be actually there are some jobs that are on the skill shortage job list, and you can easily come as an overseer employer. You can easily be employed from by a company in the UK from wherever you are. But right now, those jobs, many of those jobs will no longer qualify to be on the job shortage list. Many of those jobs will no longer qualify, and the skills that are required for many of the jobs that are on the job shortage list will be on the high side. Maybe people who have PhD, people who are into tech, like some extremely needed jobs, some extremely high profile jobs. And continue, many of the care workers, there was a document recently about care workers, the likes on BBC. Many care workers can actually recruit from overseas before. But right now, one of the proposition of this law is that care worker can no longer employ from overseas. They are trying to put a stop to it. Care workers can no longer recruit from overseas. And one of the things that was said by the Prime Minister, that they want to train people who are in the UK already, that they don't get people from overseas, they train the people who are in the UK already so that they can be the one to fill those roles. So care workers, if this law is passed, care agencies will no longer be able to recruit care workers from overseas, and this is a major cost for a lot of people. And continue, one of the one that affects a lot of people is that after graduating from your study in the United Kingdom, you get 2 years postgraduate visa to look for work. But right now it has been reduced to 18 months. So it has been reduced to 18 months, and it still will be legislated upon. So instead of 2 years, you will get 18 months to look for a job. And they are also even trying to use some laws against some universities, not against actually, that the university must ensure that people who come to the university actually come to study, attend all their classes, and that they graduate. They are even trying to make universities pay some commission over international students, because universities always love international students. They are part of what drives their economy. They need their money. So they are, by trying to charge commission and imposing some rules on them, we kind of discourage some of them from going through the trouble that some of them goes through. And also because some people just come to the university not intending to graduate, they will just use that as a vow to do whatever it is and then remain in the United Kingdom. But right now they want to ensure that universities make sure that they only admit people who they know are going to graduate, because if they have a very low graduation rate, then they may actually try to, it may be against the university in terms of the quota that they will give them or some other thing that will be done to the university. And then lastly, what I want to talk about on these laws is that they want to make dependents of people who are coming to the United Kingdom, they want to make their dependent also take the exam. And even people who are taking the exam, there is when you're coming to the UK, I think you can have B1. They are trying to increase it to B2. That when you take the test, probably IELTS, TOEFL, whatever, if you get B1, you are good to go, you passed. But right now they are trying to increase it to B2. And families of people who are coming into the United Kingdom, before, the families, the dependents don't need to take the exam, but right now the families also need to take the exam. And when you take the exam as the main applicant, whenever you want to convert to whenever you want to get your leave to remain, you also take another exam as well. So that's all. Those are the things that have been put in place, and that's what I want to talk about. And then continue with some tips that I said I want to give you. If you come into the UK, and I will advise, there's actually one thing that like everybody is looking for right now, everybody in the UK are looking for right now, and that is COS, sponsorship. COS, which is a sponsorship. That's what your employee is going to give you. And when you have that COS for 5 years, then you can apply for leave to remain. So even in churches, pastors will come, the other black churches, and say, oh, may you get a job that is willing to give you COS these days. But most employees right now in the UK, they will blatantly state on the job website that this job is not giving any COS, because they also know that people want COS. Because when you get the COS, when you get it for 5 years, that is after then that you can apply for leave to remain. That's your path to PR, permanent residency. So it's actually becoming an headache to get COS these days. That is what many people are looking for. When you get the COS, it's prayer answered, like prayer answered. And many jobs are not willing to give it because there is a quota of COS that they can also give out. They can't just be giving it anyhow. So now what should you now do if you come to the UK and then you are not able to get a job after 2 years? You can just do something. You can get another, you can apply for another course, or maybe a professional certification in an institution that is enabled to give you certificate of acceptance to study. And another advice I can give is, if you study an earth-related program, an earth-related course, if you study an earth-related course, because they are no longer recruiting care workers from overseas, then it will be easy for you to get a job in the United Kingdom when you graduate from your program. So you can be sure, if you study an earth-related program, because they are no longer recruiting from overseas, it will be very, very easy for you to get a job and then, get COS and then PR. So you can do that. And also another thing you can do is, if you are actually a spouse of someone who has PR already or who has leave to remain, if you are a spouse to that kind of person, then you can remain in the UK as well. But of course, one thing here is, like, you in the UK, what you need is information. Actually, when you actually with the right person who knows all these job routes, when you consult people, you're actually with the right person, you will be given the right direction to take, legal right direction. And then this will allow you to easily get job, this will allow you to easily get connection, this will allow you to easily have a good network of people that can guide you and get the COS. Something that may be hard for a lot of people, believe me, depending on the person you are with, depending on the relationship you are with the person, it may come to you very, very cheaply. And that's why community is very important in the UK. When you get to the UK, do not live an isolated life. Always ask questions and be with the right person. When you're with the right person, it can easily guide you to someone who has done it before. Believe me, speaking from experience, I know someone who is actually with the right person, and before you know it, you just get the COS on a platter of gold. So that's what I want to share with you in this video. This is Opportunity News, where I talk about traveling abroad, study abroad. I bring about opportunities that you can apply for to advance your career globally. And so hopefully see you in subsequent videos. This is Opportunity News.